Hey, been quite a while since I posted a video, 8 months to be exact. So I just figured I would throw up a video and kind of do a walk around here in the garage, just show some of the little projects that I've done and kind of things that have been keeping me busy. And I'll try and keep it short and sweet without too much talking so nobody gets too bored. So let's get going. All right, we're gonna start with these two things right here. Just wanted to show my cute little faces. I drew the faces on there to give me an orientation as what's up in front and all that kind of thing. And the one right here, I drew the little elephant's face on there to be cute because my granddaughter was saying it looked like a ghost. So let me yank the covers off there and we'll touch on these real quick. So those of you that follow me on Instagram, you already know, nothing in detail, but the, I guess early spring, late winter, I picked up the Bridgeport mill here first, and then the South Bend Lathe. So that I was pretty busy with that, just small projects, nothing worth really doing any videos on. I mean, the YouTube world is just inundated with lathe and mill videos of just all different types. So, but real quick, each one kind of led into its own little side project. Firstly on the mill, it was 3-phase when I got it, and I had to do the VFD drive for it to convert to 220, and then a couple little projects I had to do. It was missing a bunch of knobs and things, so I made new knobs for it. There's an Instagram post on the fine adjustment for the quill here. I made that knob. There's still a little bit of work that I need to do in here that I'm just not ready to get into yet because it's going to involve taking the head apart to fix a little problem in there. And I have a problem with, you can't really see it, but the oiler there, I got some work I got to do on it. I got a busted line I got to replace, and then just go through it and clean it. But nothing real major with this guy. It's a pretty tight machine. The my screws have got a little bit of play in them. Nothing terrible, but that's a project later on down the road. The parts are pretty expensive for that. But for the most part, this guy, I mean, I've made a few things on it, and it's doing pretty good. This thing is it's a Bridgeport J head. It's a variable belt drive for the speeds, not the vari drive. The vari drive is totally different, but this has the step pulleys in there, and it's a 1.5 horses. Not sure if I just mentioned it, but this dates back to the 1980s, and like I say, it's still a pretty nice machine. And then the South Bend here, ran into a bunch of problems with it. The wiring was really old, and this thing was in a guy's basement when I picked it up, and we took it apart pretty good to get it out of there because it's just so heavy, and it was just me and him with a hand truck. So putting it back together, the insulation was falling off the wiring, and I ended up rewiring it. That turned into a problem. Major problem trying to get the wiring right on it because I had recorded my coloring wrong, and oh boy, what a nightmare that turned into. But we got it's going nice and smooth. And then that turned into, I found some missing gear teeth here and there, and finding good parts for that to replace, and that turned into a whole nother thing, just taking the whole headstock apart and everything. And I replaced the tool post on it, and got a whole bunch of tooling, and made this just another side project here, this little rack and tool holder and everything. So this guy's good to go. I believe this thing is also, it's a 1.5 horses motor on there. It is also 220. Nice little machine. It's got some play in it. My cross slide and my compound screws got a lot of play. I've got new nuts for those, but I think I really need to replace the screw. But I've made a few things on it. It's pretty fun. It's been fun. Been a learning process. So that was the beginning of the year. Another little side project. I got all my oil cans hung, and they're not all vintage, but I got those set up, and just like, again, kind of a side project with moving the mill and the lathe in. I had to do a bunch of reorganizing, and over this side, I had acquired a new anvil some time ago. This is a Fisher, and it dates back to late 1880s, 1889, I believe exactly. And I got a new anvil stump. So that was a nice little side project. Again, nothing really worth filming, and just trying to get stuff done and move through it. So, and then went on to another side project. My brother was doing some reorganizing in his garage, and he had this workbench here with this vise on it. They were both my grandfather's. So it was a makeshift welding bench that he had. And so I had a lot of work, a lot of weld spatter, and a lot of attachments tacked onto it. It was quite the mess when I got it. I cleaned a bunch of stuff off of it, and just a plywood shelf on the bottom. I kind of reconditioned that and oiled it up and repainted everything and wet through the vise and got it all cleaned up and tightened up. And my son found me that toolbox, so I've got starting my collection of machine tools going on in there. And so that was another little side project related to the mill and the lathe. A lot of stuff really stemmed from these two things here, reorganizing the garage and whatnot. And then another motorcycle found its way into the garage, so we're starting to rack up a collection of them. And they say if you got 3 or more, you're collecting. And I think the most recent little project was this mini workbench that I made for my grandson. A little vise, and he loves that hand crank grinder. So I had 2. So that was on my my blacksmithing bench. So I had this one, is in really nice shape. So I moved this one over here and gave him the other one. So that's been keeping me pretty busy between the motorcycling and camping and all these little side projects. It's just been so much easier to post on Instagram with a picture and a quick caption and keep it moving. But so we've got one big project I want to do coming up is this oven here. I've been using it as a powder coat oven. I want to build a hood over it with an exhaust fan and make a little slide-in top so I can hang stuff and paint inside there. I can set up, have a power strip in there, and I can plug in all my equipment for powder coating. I can powder coat in there, bake stuff in the oven. It worked out real well. I baked the enamel coat on that vise, and that came out awesome. I've painted a few other things, and actually, I should have powder coated them, but these crash guards on the motorcycle here were gold, and I painted them in the dead middle of winter, and my garage isn't climate controlled, but I baked them in the oven for about 10-15 minutes, and I tell you, that's the best paint job I ever did, with the metal being warm and everything baked in the oven and everything. So that's definitely a project that's coming up. And then I've got a few small projects related to the mini workbench here. I want to make a small working wood saw for my grandson, and maybe even make a mini version of a hacksaw. So it's 2 upcoming projects at least that maybe when things slow down, we'll get to. So I hope that wasn't too long. It's kind of some fun stuff to me. Kind of a rerun. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've had little pictures and little captions here and there along the way of the different things that as I've been going through. But it's just been a lot more convenient than YouTube. So I just figured I'd post a little where I've been and what's been going on. I hope that wasn't too boring. If you stuck with me this long, I really appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll be seeing you soon.